What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. Hope you guys are doing better than some Tesla, some Google, some of the tech names. But I hope you guys are ready to go. We got SPY, little bit of gap down, Q's, little bit of gap down, all off our earnings. So we'll see how they play out. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you, Bill, Cheryl, Cindy, Corey, Diane. Good morning to Donna. We got Greg in the house. Good morning to Jay, Joe, Lauren, Martina, Shane, Tim, all my people at YouTube land. We got Clarice. Good morning. All my lurkers in the background. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But we kind of talked about a few scenarios yesterday, all dealing with this little bit of a uptrend. So we do have this pretty enormous uptrend from a while ago. So pretty far, pretty strong support. Big problem with it is it's now resistance. So we did push into it. We said, okay, maybe if we could get a close inside of it, that would help kind of change things and get us that second momentum into that gap fill. But for right now, that gap and go from back in, because the gap and go really happened on July 17th. That's still in play. That's going to be a tough one to break. Obviously, if we do, I think we at that point we will be looking to fill that gap, but probably go higher if we start breaking out of some of these candles. For right now, though, all we really did yesterday was put in an inverted hammer. We actually closed down. We closed lower on the day, so not great sentiment. This gap down, obviously coming after some of those earnings have started to roll out, and they've been hit or miss. They haven't been like we haven't had like some solid earnings quite yet. But we do have the SPY. Actually, some of the non-tech names have been okay, but in terms of like Tesla, Google, Google wasn't horrible, but there was some certain areas of it that kind of put a little fear into the market. We'll go through that. We got SPY. With this gap down, it is a retest from yesterday. Yesterday, more or less, was an inside day with some bear pressure. So I think that I don't know that this is going to be a huge, big retest. I think we do retest a little bit. Um, we are also gapping below. So this is a pretty important day. This is June. This is July 19th. I got the resistance from that day somewhere sitting around 549.66, and we are just slightly under it. So if if you think we go bullish and we have a big retest at open, then you do have a good risk reward. So you have probably stops somewhere below this July 17th candle, maybe slightly lower, 547.66. You're thinking we could break through that resistance and you have a great bull trade. I think sentiment is kind of fading a little bit for that little bit of a bigger pullback. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't throw the morning sound on. I forgot about that. They changed the layout. I'm telling you that the new layout on Zoom gets me every time. It gets me every time. But yeah, it's like that sound button is hidden for the share screen. On my end, I had some sound though, and I enjoyed it. I will tell you that I enjoy the music in the morning. So we'll get you the music tomorrow. Get you the music tomorrow. But we do have the SPY with this little bit of gap down. I think that's a pretty big important gap where I think we continue down further. Probably looking for levels. I think at least we start running into this 546.07. So I would remain bearish throughout the day, but probably a little bit more to the bull side at open. I think we do retrace some of this. There's going to be some buy the dippers, but I think there's also some people probably shorting right around that resistance yesterday. This is a good opportunity for them just to make a quick profit overnight. Pretty nice gap down, and we go from there. But so I wouldn't be jumping in everything bearish quite at the open, not yet. But I do think there's a time today where we probably lean more to the bear side. Um, or we just kind of stay in that July 17th day, but I think there is some selling pressure. I think selling the rips are still kind of in play. The Qs, not a great looking gap for the Qs either. Very similar to yesterday, we almost got right into that upper moving or not moving range. We did hit the 20 EMA almost to the penny. We got very close to that previous support resistance trend line. We kind of failed that one. Again, we're gapping. Not a great location. We will have this 50 EMA. That might give us a little boost. We also are opening right into a support. This is probably going to be a big one. This is going to be a big one. If this starts to drop and we start breaking through this, we have a lot of room down to, I would say, 464.58. Not really much holding us up. Let me see if there's any volume in the zone. No, we got nothing. So that would be my first stop. Realistically, the next real spot is probably somewhere around 461.87, and then I think we could probably even get back to 454. So there's not a lot really holding us back from this point, besides an EMA, one level of support. So I do think we probably buy the dip right out of the gate again. Probably looking for resistance on this one, 476.23. I don't think we do a full on retest. I don't think we get back to 480.59 today. Maybe there's a chance if we're buying that dip or we have a lot of shorts that do want to take some profit. Maybe we could get to this 470.840. That's probably my stretch target for today in a bullish direction. Otherwise, a lot of room to the downside. So I think going short or at least leaning short or starting the day with a short mentality is probably going to give a good guidance in how you guys are trading. Let me know if you guys got stocks that you're looking for. TLT gapping up a little bit, but even most of this just came pre-market. I mean, the last right as I was getting on the mic, we have 20 minutes of just buying. This is also running right now into a resistance from yesterday too, so we'll see if we could break and go a little bit higher on TLT, but still kind of in that range. We've every day we've opened, we've also been melting off a little bit on TLT, which is interesting. The more that comes down, we're probably looking for higher rates. IWM, which has been absolutely on a tear, had a good day yesterday. An okay close, nothing too great, but we did close higher than Monday's candle. We just ran right into that resistance. And now we're pulling back. I do have a little support. So a lot of these things, even though we're gapping down, even though they're in a tough area, a lot of them have some decent support that we're opening at. It makes me wonder. And if we start losing kind of these opening prices, I think we're got a little bit bigger dip ahead of us. But IWM probably just chop it a little bit. Look for support 220.42. Look for resistance 222.72. I forget who it was. Was it Corey? I think it was Corey made a nice trade on IWM. I believe it was you, right? Let me know. But he said yesterday, yeah, it was Corey. He said first time trading the IWM. I think he made like 1.8 or something, 1.4. Fantastic. Awesome trade. We got some tickers coming in. INCC. Caitlin says just hopped on. Did you go over Tesla already? No, no, not yet. Not yet. Still got some time. Let's see. INTC. We'll take some lines off. We're flip a coin. Flip a coin. I've we currently, and we'll see. We got 20 minutes till the market opens, but right now we're sitting 32.51. I have 32.95 as resistance and support. First support I have is somewhere around 32.11. I think the real support is probably about $32. So I got about 50 cents to the downside. I have about 40 cents, 50 cents to the higher side. So you're smack in the middle of this. I I wouldn't mind actually trying this one bullish if we get some quick sell off. I don't really have an edge one way or the other at open, or at least I don't really have good risk reward. So what I would like to see, seeing that this has faded 1, 2, 3 inside days, so really like 4 days of kind of selling on this one. There is some shorts probably profitable in this gap. I would like to see a little profit taking. So again, it kind of goes with what we were talking about. So again, even though we're smack in the middle, I think I just don't really get a good risk to reward here. But if we get bought up into that resistance, so somewhere around this 32.95, I think the play is to the short side. I think we are looking to fill this gap down here. So I would think something like this happens, and then either we come down a little bit further, probably into this eventually. I don't know. I don't know about today, but eventually I think we get into this 31 or 30-70 zone, wherever that is. And then if it's going to start to move, we do something like that. But it does look like we have all the pressure to the bear side just with this gap up. It is a retest gap. And to go long or short doesn't really give me too much edge or too much risk to reward. So I'd much rather we get a kind of full on retest. And I think later today probably a good spot to play that one for a bearish play. Little bearish continuation. Coinbase. What's the crypto heads doing today? I think I took off the lines on this chart. We went over this one with the group. We were talking about this one. Uh, you do have a little reversal candle as a swing trade. Where were we talking on this one? Was it Coinbase? No, Bitcoin. Yeah, it was Bitcoin. Let's go to Bitcoin. I think I still have the lines on. Yeah, for a second I thought we were talking about I even moved all these lines too. Dang it. We were talking about this on Bitcoin for yesterday, but just in our group. But we had yesterday's VPOC. We're looking at this thing going, okay. We did yesterday. We closed below all those different VPOCs. The next little support probably down to 65, 196. We could probably get even a little bit lower than this. I think volume, nothing too crazy. So what I was looking for is a little retest into the VPOC. So right around where we're at now, that is a spot I think could get rejected. And then I think going with uh, a stop probably a little higher than this one, but up into this range as a little bit of a swing could make sense. Even for like a 1.2, something to that extent. But right now, crypto's being bought up, but it's running into a big, heavy resistance. So far, we're getting rejected off of that. So I'd have to wonder if Coin wants to kind of play that same game. Coinbase, we are right above. Oh, that's why. That's why. That's why. That's why. Uh-huh. I was on mute somehow. I don't know. I don't know how that thing does that. I'm pretty positive I didn't hit it. Yeah, so Coinbase, let me go back to that one. Bitcoin is into a little bit of resistance. Again, I'm not sure where I got cut off, but probably for a minute. Um, I think Coinbase, not a great close. I don't like the fact we close above July 19th VPOC. So that was not a great close. They are trying to save it right here. If you go back to that Bitcoin is going up today, which is going to cause obviously Coinbase to probably push bullish. But even Bitcoin is running into a big, big support or big resistance. So I think Bitcoin probably gets rejected or at least held up here. I'm not going bullish or bearish out of the gate. I think I would put a little more edge right now, at least to the bull side, as you have good, decent risk to reward. So breaking yesterday's candle, I think you just want to be out, take the loss, probably flip the position. So you do have a little bit of edge to the bull side, and I'm looking for. I do have 2 days ago VPOC at 264.72. That's where I put my stretch target. I don't know necessarily that we get there, so I think somewhere around this 263.67. I think that's somewhere in the location for the Bulls, but um, I would with that close yesterday. I think I would actually be leaning a little more to the bear side. I think I can get bigger targets down to like 246.44. So I'm throwing that higher on my list to see if we can lean bearish. I probably won't touch it right out of the gate unless maybe I get some kind of a high wave candle or the bulls coming strong and I can take a break under that candle. That might be how I want to play this one. But I'm leaning a little bit more to the bear side. I think Bitcoin is at some kind of just bigger resistance. And I don't know if we are able to break out of that when the market's kind of coming down a little bit. But we'll see. Let me see if we get some more tickers up here. TXN. TXN. Texas Instruments. They're up. They beat by 5.32 earnings per share, so not bad. They actually had a good revenue, 994, so they came in a little bit higher than expected there. This is a gap and go. Watch out. We do have some resistance above us. So the first one is very, very close. First one we're actually opening right into right now. The next one up from here is 204.46. After that, and that's probably where this is probably where you'd have to assume that we could get to if you're going to take this trade right at open. So the better way to play this one, even though it is a gap and go, just with that resistance, I would like to see a fade at least into 202.36 at minimum. Maybe we even come back into this like 201.27 zone. If it comes back down there, I got good risk reward, even back into this like 204.40. Right here, I don't really have great risk reward unless I think some of these levels, this 204.46 could get taken out. Then I'd have targets 205 and I could have a decent trade. But it's a good gap and go, nice little beat. If it was clearing this pivot, so if we were getting somewhere above 206.22 at the open, I think this would look fantastic. But at this point, I would just be in kind of limbo and see if we get a small pullback first, get some better risk reward, better entries on it. Try to buy it a little bit lower. But I would be leaning more bullish than bearish on that one. It's decent. AT&T gap up. Looks like the earnings came out. Is this today? Yep, this morning. So earnings are out. They look like they're doing spectacular. So they did miss earnings per share by just under a penny. And then they came in with under 186 million, less than expected. So nothing wrong here. Probably all the reason to get this gap up. uh we do have some volume on yesterday's candle. I don't know how much of that is just honestly attributed to the earnings this morning, but I can't look at those earnings and be like, yeah, that's the reason why. That just makes sense. And you do have a gap fill. We still haven't hit yet. So if you're in it, I'm looking for target. AMD just got a little candle there. I'm looking at my other chart. But 1914 would be my resistance. That looks like a pretty hefty one. Let's see if there's any volume. There's not really a lot of volume. Somewhere in the zone. We could break this 1917, and we do have a path higher, but it's going to be, I think, a little bit more choppy than this chart leads it to believe for today. Yeah, there's not a heck of a lot of room to the higher side. Again, unless you think that we could get through some of these levels. Really, the level you're looking for is somewhere in 1917, 1921. We start getting above that, get a couple closes. We have a good path where if there's a ton of shorts in AT&T, I don't know if there is, but then we start getting some of those shorts to be wrong. We can start to get some squeezing. I'm not going to go bearish on AT&T today because you are gapping above. Oh, like you're trapping some people, but that little resistance is getting me. So if it pulls back, maybe even into like this 1878 zone, that would be a spot I would be interested in. See if their setup comes in. But you don't have a lot of room to work on AT&T, unfortunately, AVTR. And then we do have to cover Google. I do want to take a look at the vids and Tesla as well. So we're gonna go skip to those. I'll cover Roku real quick too. This one, not an earnings play. Avantor to replace Quidel in the S&P. Yep. That's gonna open them up to some more investments. You do have decent volume here, we're above, good volume there, we're above, pretty good volume there, we're above, and we're just not quite there yet. Watch this price point. And then we also have the 200. So look for that 200 as your target today. It's 22.85. You have some room to the bull side. I do have one little resistance here, and then even that, the next one up. So again, we're just gonna get pounded with a lot of resistance. It seems like the case today. But even this candle, all of this sell-off, like this is a big red candle. This was the gap up here. This entire move was some kind of retest. So there was actually bullish sentiment at open on this, and you're looking at some profit taking. I would say this one wants to come down. Let's see if this one comes down to 2209 and then targets. I think we try to get to 2285. I don't have this one on the list, so let's add that one now, and then I'll boost that one up a little bit later today. Roku, then we get to Tessie, then we'll cover Nvidia and Google. Maybe not in that order. Roku gap down, pretty significant level. Not sure if there's news here, but Roku gained today. No, that was from yesterday. They're gonna have to retract that article. Looks like. Roku has a decent support that we're gapping into, but the fact that we're breaking down what was the most recent support, we're also coming in under this last VPOC 6047. See if we can get some bids higher at open, but otherwise, I'm looking for probably a 59.11 target. And if we want to come a little bit lower, 57.97. But that does look short. So Roku will get up higher to the short side. And like we said, like we said out of the gate, I think a lot of these things are going to be probably opening with some green candles. I was like, okay, buy the dips in, but I think longer term bearish today would pay some bills. But all right, let's get to Tesla. So Tesla did report earnings. It was a mixed bag in terms of earnings per share. They missed by a little bit, so that wasn't horrible of a miss of earnings per share, but it wasn't great. Still 15%. And then the revenue did come in pretty good, just 960. Surprise beat to the higher side, so 3.9%. You're gapping down on Elon's kind of not really reversal of what he said. We talked about this one yesterday too, but we missed on earnings last quarter, right? So we had a miss there. At least on this time, we beat on the revenue side of things. But he came in, cheerleader Elon, robo taxis. He threw the gauntlet out. So we got that nice little sideways chop. We finally got that breakout. Everything looks good. It was more of his timelines that he was pretty much saying like, yeah, I know I'm putting out timelines, but you guys already know how accurate those timelines are. So I would probably be leaning bearish on Tesla, not right out of the gate. See if this thing could retest a little bit, at least up until 228.90. And then if we want to come a little bit higher, we have that 20 EMA all the way up at 234. I don't know if I want to play this as a fade. This is a retest gap from yesterday. Be cautious going short at open. We do have to clear that first level. If we clear that first level, I'll be extra cautious going bearish. Maybe we get more of that retest. But yeah, I think the remarks that he made kind of also sets us back a little bit. Maybe not all the way back down to fill some gaps down here. I don't think there were those kind of remarks. But even this, all these people profitable, all these people making money to the bull side, you're gonna have some profit taking from these guys still just trying to go, okay, I tried to hold through those earnings, I tried to make it, and it wasn't able to, unless they're long-term investors. And this quarterly report and every single quarterly report is kind of just noise. Just noise. But we're gonna definitely keep Tessie up higher on the lists. Google was one that actually came in and had pretty good earnings. So they beat 4 cents earnings per share. They also beat by an extra 522 million. So numbers look good. The breakdown of the numbers. Again, Google is not just your search engine. They do a lot of different stuff. The cloud was really good. The cloud numbers were fantastic for them. So if you're looking for maybe even some sympathies, look for, I wouldn't mind looking at cloud stocks bullish today because those numbers were pretty good. The YouTube revenue is what got beat up. So maybe as sympathy play, you're looking at something like a Rumble or something like that, or UM. Maybe even a Meta, just because they deal with advertising and essentially YouTube is advertising revenue. Right. So look at anything that has the advertising revenue. That might be a little bit to the weaker side today, just based off of the breakdown of Google's earnings. In terms of where we're at now, again, the numbers weren't horrible. I wouldn't be running for the gates and just cashing out everything right now, especially if it's long term. I wouldn't be too concerned. But could we get a bigger pullback from here? Yeah, I mean, that's still healthy. That's still decent. At open, we look like we're opening into a little support, nothing too crazy. I would expect some further sell off even today. Maybe we could get some bids up to 174.81 or preferably 176. I think somewhere around that 176 zone would be go short. Eventually, at some point, I think we come into this 169.92. But I'm gonna need probably that morning bell to ring. We take a couple deep breaths and then we see what's looking to set up. At least that I'm probably gonna need at least a 3-minute candle, if not like a 5-minute candle to close on some of these stocks just to get some of the early morning volatility out today. And then I think we're running. Kevin says, did we look at Tesla? We just looked at Tesla. Yep, we just did. Just going back real quick. Watch for 228.44 as resistance, and then probably this 20 EMA on a daily. But I would go short. Just be patient. See if we get some buying first, and I think short sentiment is going to do it for me. All right, let's see. There was another one we were going to cover. NVIDIA was asked, so we'll try to cover this one. We got this moving average, which we held. This is the 50 EMA. I still got some support around 118.37. This is technically a retest gap from yesterday, but that's inside day from this green day. So I think I'd even go a little bit more bearish here. Maybe we get targets down to like this 115 today. Otherwise, stretch targets for me 113.62. But that is the opening bell. So everybody out on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Unfortunately, I got to disconnect, but we will catch you guys.